What's going on, kings and queens? I got some good news for you. We finally got our website together at www.weinvestdifferent.com. It's where you can find our episodes of the podcast. We got links to the YouTube channel as well. So tap in. If you don't want to listen on our platforms at Spotify, Apple Music, you can just tap into our website and get access to the newest episodes. Tap in. You are now tuned in to We Invest Different podcast, where we have high-level conversations. I'm Mr. John Michael Best.
And I'm Victor Thomas II.
Let's tap in. Financial Fashion Network is a media company and brand that promotes financial awareness, personal development, and mental health. And we have created platforms like We Invest Different Podcasts that you're listening to right now. And we also have created a platform for our mental health community called MH10 Movement. If you support all that we do, you can go over to www.fnfstore.com where you can find our apparel. You can support the brand that way. Also, you can share the show, share with people, and tell them how great the conversations are. We appreciate all the support. Now let's get into the show. On conversation number 59, we talked about our future selves and what our future selves look like. We also gave practical steps on what it takes to get to the place where you activate your future self in the present. Tap in.
Yeah. So anyway, bro, shit, man, how you been, bro? Damn.
Good, man. Busy, bro. Busy, bro. The line, man. Finding that new balance primarily. But I've been good, bro. Just seeing things, coming together. Stuff starting to make sense. You know what I mean? I remember I heard Lil Baby say in a song one time, stuff starting to make sense. And I felt that shit, bro. Because it's like, at first it'd be like, what the hell? And then you start being like, oh, okay. Okay. That's why that needed to happen. That's why that happened. That's why. So I'm in that space right now, bro.
And that's good, man. That's great. That's great. So what we gonna do, man? I'm gonna just go ahead and tap into the show. I'm gonna leave that in there. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for tuning in to another conversation of We Invest Different Podcast. I believe this is conversation number 59. I'm co-host Mr. John Michael Best.
And I'm your other co-host, Victor Thomas II.
And it's a blessing. We both was able to wake up this morning with our health and our strength. So I start off this day with gratitude. I thank you for a new day that I've never seen before. So it's a total blessing. With that being said, man, I'm feeling great. We already done got how you doing. I appreciate you for telling us and updating us, man. But man, I'm down here in Orlando, Florida, for a little mini vacation with the fam, and man, it feel good out here early in the morning. So we tapping in live, brother. So how's life? I know you already told us how you doing, but how is life?
Life is good, man. Learning. I probably say right now I'm really working on making my communication even better. You know what I'm saying? I've always been told that I've had good communication, but I realize that doesn't mean that I can't be even better. So
That's a
really
fact.
just working on um primarily working on listening. Listening. Letting people get their entire thoughts through. Cause I notice like when somebody's talking, I may have a thought that sparks that I would want to say. So I'm working on holding back on that thought and letting the person, finish whatever they're trying to say completely. Because I'm learning that's helpful to do that for real.
Man, that's a strong lesson. I too also have to work on that and am working on that. So I definitely agree that that's a good skill. That's a good skill. I think that's actually a skill. Listening is a skill.
Yeah, man. Borderline art form.
Yeah, seriously.
Hmm. But man, how's life for you, man?
Life is great, man. You know, it comes with its ups and downs. You know, but recently I've been understanding that everything works out for my good.
Mm.
You know, and internalizing that with full belief, has been, my goal. So just understanding, not just going through life, but understanding that everything is working out. And I was talking to my mama about that yesterday. Like honestly, it's really not a good or bad. Everything just is
Yes, sir.
because everything that God take you through, it's a lesson in it. Whether you see it as something bad or whether you see it as something good, it's gonna always be a lesson in it for us. So
Hmm.
that's one thing that I'm learning. But tapping in to our topic today, brother, and you've already started the conversation, and it's been going into that direction because one of the things that you said that you've been working on is listening. But with that being said, I wanted to talk about what our future selves look like. And the reason I wanted to talk about that is because it's very important that we know what that person look like because we'll have something to work on every single day we wake up. So first off, I wanted to ask you, what are some things that you see your future self? What are some attributes? What are some traits? What are some goals that you will have accomplished? What are some things that you will be doing? What does that future self look like right now? What is that vision, Vic, of yourself?
Mm,
Like things that you, like things, okay, like things that yes, your future self will be improved in. Let's say that your future self will be a better music producer, or your future self will be a better cousin or brother, whatever the case may be. What does that future self look like? So to give you some type of direction as far as how you goal set.
I say no. I say it's a lot of stuff that I see my future self improved in. But I probably say the number one thing is improving in my faith.
Mm,
I mean, pretty much along the same lines of what you just said. Um, that faith that everything working in my good. Because I know one of
right.
my goals that I've been, setting intention on for a couple of years now is, and it's a big one to ask God for, and it's been a journey. But I've always said I want to have the most faith in any room I walk in.
Mm. What developed that prayer? Was
I
that
I couldn't even tell
was
you,
that a
bro.
prayer? Was that a prayer like that happened a long time ago, or was that
A while ago, it was probably about like 3 years ago when I first started having that thinking, and it kind of
bro? I
just
can
came out of nowhere.
I can feel that. I can feel that because I felt the same way about praying about love, bro.
Mm,
Because that's mine. My future self, the vision of my future self, right? I've been having this vision for a long time because I know that I have anger issues.
hmm.
So one of my main goals is to walk into a room and people feel my love so vibrantly that they damn near are drawn to me,
Mm,
or in a good way. I'm not just saying I want attention, but I want to be able to change the temperature. Like you said, you want to be the most faithful in the room. Like
hmm.
I want to be the most loving in the room.
Mm. That's hard.
Like because man, what I'm realizing about love is that we say that love is God, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I found out that I got a deeper understanding that God is love and that true love casts out all fear. And now I found out that a lot of things are derived from fear, even sickness,
Mm.
even mental illnesses. It's all derived from the absence of love because the absence of love is fear, hate, all low vibrational things
Mm.
is in the absence of love. So if you think about it, anxiety, depression, feelings of abandonment, all of these things happen when there's no love. Trauma happens when there's a lack of love. Because if everybody on the planet had God's love, there would be no trauma.
Mm.
So that's the type of things that I see my future self because if you have love, you have everything. Like everything that I ever want will come out of love because it's like if I'm showing love this much, I'm helping people and I'm enthused about it. And I'm incorporating my ideas in helping people as well. Um, I can't help but be the blessed king that I am. It's gonna make me even more blessed, and I'll be able to to give out healing because when you love someone with God's love, there's healing.
That right.
So definitely, man. Is it any other thing that you see your future self doing? Like, is there anything that you see your future self doing outside of attributes, outside of character traits? Like, what are some of the things that you see your future self doing? It can be an adventure. It can be
Yeah, I think one of my things would definitely be present being able to provide opportunities for people, that kind of got written off. That's something that I really want to do. People like ex-convicts, people that might have had some addiction issues, you know what I mean? Young people that's, you know, looked at as at risk. I really want to be a place person that can, get them in positions, to make their life somewhat better in certain cases.
great, great, great answer, brother. That leads us to this next question or this next conversation, brief conversation that I wanted to bring up. Um, have you ever heard of your shadow self?
Hey, I've been hearing that word lately.
Yeah, so this is another, part of the conversation that refers to your future self. And we all know that your future self is being created in the present. So there is no future creation without working in the present. So if you're not doing anything in the present, your future self is never gonna be created. So that leads us to me talking about your shadow self. Now, your shadow self is what I believe to be the work of your dark side, the side that people don't see, your demons. You're dealing with your demons. You're dealing with the things about yourself that nobody know. It's in the dark. But of course, we have to talk about the subconscious mind. That's really the shadow work, because 80 to 95% of people are bandwagoners. We kind of just automatically follow the majority. So that means most of us are not being honest with ourselves. So the first thing when it comes to shadow work is self honesty. You have to face yourself. You have to look in the mirror. So speaking of that future self, I'll go first. There are some things that my future self is overcoming. Like in this present moment, my future self, I'm overcoming things in the present. So that means my future self is also too overcoming these things. So I see unbelief. Unbelief, my future self won't be in unbelief. So that means I'll be able to do different things. I won't have fear keeping me from going into different rooms, networking with different people, um, even helping people. Some people don't have the confidence to carry out the ideas to help people or to walk in rooms or to follow through with opportunities. I want to be able to travel the world. My future self will be able to travel the world and not be afraid of introducing himself to anybody at any time.
You're
I'll
right.
be able to go to I'll be able to go to any country, you know, any city, any state, knowing that, like we were saying earlier, everything is working out for our good. So we can be in complete 100% confidence at all times.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So, man, so what about you? What are some things that your future self will be doing? What are some of the things that your future self won't be doing? Yeah, talk about it.
Um, I guess mainly one thing that I really focus on is like making sure I'm putting my efforts in the correct place at the right time. And I don't know, to me that sounds a bit different from what the norm is, but that's one thing that I really deal with. And I ain't trying to toot my own horn or nothing, but it's like whatever I whatever I'm able, whatever I try to do, I end up being pretty alright at it. You know what I mean? I ain't gonna say that I'm the master of it, but it's to the point where I can actually be involved with multiple things, and it's a gift to be able to do that. But I know one thing that I also have to remember is that it's a time and place for everything, even my gifts. You know what I'm saying? So it really
Mm,
takes me sitting back and really listening for God to lead my path, because it's crazy, bro. It's like I could sit here and make a whole plan of how stuff need to go, but it's like God to step in and be like, "Nah, I need to go like this, and you need to do this right here at this time, and this right here at this time." So it's really just, in the future, I see myself, being able to hear God clear with His direction on where I need to be putting my efforts and what I need to be doing.
man, that's a great answer, brother.
Hmm.
I mean, you really can't get no better than that because, like what we're saying, if we believe in God, man, our future self ain't gonna be nothing. And if we don't believe in God in the present, our future self ain't gonna be nothing anyway.
Hmm.
So I
Oh,
mean,
I want to tell you that too, bro. I don't know if you ever heard it before, but I remember back when I ain't gonna say when I was first looking into meditation, but maybe like after a year in, I ran across this video, and it said that through meditation we are able to actually speak or send messages to our future self or even our past self. And it said that whatever we say to our future or past self, we can begin to see the effects in current time.
that's crazy that you went there because I was just tapping into a podcast last night with my guy Billy Carson,
Yeah.
and he was talking about. how we are three-dimensional beings, right? But the brain, the mind, can transcend to all 11 dimensions
Oh.
because it's saying that there are 11 dimensions, and we are able to, mentally, we can physically be on three. We can physically be on three. We having the physical experience on the third dimension, but when you go to the fourth, fifth, sixth, physical body can't go. So, but your mind can go to up to 11 dimensions.
Mm.
So what I'm saying is that they're saying scientifically that on the fifth dimension you can see the past, present, and future all at one time.
Mm.
Because on this third dimension, which is the physical experience, time time only exists in the third dimension. And that's why we say that time is an illusion.
Right.
Because if we was to transcend into another dimension, like we said, on the fifth dimension, right, we'll be able to actually see ourselves in different versions all at one time. So we'll be able to see ourselves in the past, the future, and the present at one time. So from the fifth dimension, one one self could be in one room, a 22-year-old self can be in another room, an infant you can be in another room, because it's all present, past, and future, all in one time. So that really, I agree with what you're saying. I agree with what you're saying 100%, because it's like it's all happening. It's really all happening simultaneously. And what you're saying through meditation, I believe that 100% because the mind, like I was saying, from the fifth dimension, you see all of this at once anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So once you raising your frequency through meditation, you're actually you're actually collecting information from a higher dimension. So that's how you're able to communicate with your past self, your future self, and your present self. Because honestly, when you forgive yourself, you're actually forgiving your past.
Mm-hmm.
So when you're on the frequency of forgiveness, that's a high frequency. So you're actually looking down into your past and forgiving yourself about your past in the present, about the future.
Right. Right.
Woo!
Right. A whole lot of healing, man. A whole lot of healing.
And that's powerful, bro. That's where right there we have to be careful. And I'm gonna say this, um, because we are very godly. Us as humans, God created us as Him, so we have to always maintain that perspective of not to get bigger than God. We have to always, like you were saying, we have to let Him guide us. Also, no matter what plans we have, He has to be a factor in our lives. Excuse me, to guide
Sure.
us. So that's definitely some good stuff, man. This is definitely some good stuff. Now, now talking about the future self, coming off of that, I want to ask one last question before we go to our next segment. We talked about what we want our future selves to do, not do. We talked about what our future selves look like, what we want it to look like. Now the question is, what are we doing to get there? So, what are some of the things that you're doing to make sure your faith is strong when you walk into a room? Or what are some of the things that you're doing to make sure that God is the head of your life and that everything is aligned? When you going through different circumstances, or when you're going through uh, different things in your life. How do you keep that perspective? What are you doing now to make sure that you're keeping that perspective?
I think the number one thing, and it's crazy because it's starting to get so simple to me, bro. Because I always thought that faith was like a whole long, drawn out process, but it's simple. Just believe. You know, you know what I'm saying? It's like, man, it's so simple. So the way I internalize that is to, just keep the consciousness of God throughout the day. Like I'm really training my mind. I'm really training my mind to remember God all day. And I think that's the thing that helps build faith because, once my mind kind of goes in the autopilot of remembering God, that God got me, then it's like, boom, when that tough situation come up, it's like, boom, I'm already in autopilot of trusting God. So that situation, ain't as heavy on me because I'm already, positioning my brain to trust that God got the situation no matter what. So, like I said, just to reiterate, mainly just working on having the consciousness of God all day or as often as possible. That's what I'm
What
doing.
is okay for like the listeners, right? Because this is some deep stuff that we're talking about. You keeping that consciousness. What is that like? What is that actually like? What's practically? How do you keep that consciousness? Like, what do you do? What do you do to keep that consciousness? I know that you have to keep that consciousness so that God can stay on your mind, but what does that look like? How do you get your consciousness together? You know, like give something for the folks. Like if you was giving advice, if I was asking you this question and I knew nothing about it, well, I knew something about it, but I was asking you for the sake of getting advice. What does that look like? Working on consciousness and keeping God, you know, um, on the forefront. In your words,
To put it simply, what I mean, a simple method, I would say to somebody asking the question like that is to get you get you one sentence, get you one sentence about faith, or it could be whatever, language Ebonics, whatever, something along the lines of God got me, and let that be your phrase, and then set you an alarm throughout the day. Set you an alarm
mm,
throughout the day where you're gonna read that sentence or recite that sentence to yourself whenever that alarm go off. And then boom, next thing you know, you're getting used to that alarm going off, and your mind is just getting into that place more often throughout the day. And next thing you know, it just start happening. You just start remembering God. Training of
man,
the
thank
mind just like a muscle.
I was asking that question also too. You know what I'm saying, to take that corner for myself, and I think that's very good that we give practical steps like that because it's like they can get started right now. Like we all can do something about it right now.
Right.
You know, so that's real good stuff. And one of the things that I work on, to make sure that I have the love that I desire to have, you know, is like you said, being aware of the opposite of love. When I'm not in the spirit of love, I'm becoming more aware when I'm not in the right spirit. So
Oh yeah,
like
that's major right there.
so like when I find myself rising up, like man, I praise God, man, praise God. I'm really working on it. So when I find myself getting upset or getting angry, I try to be quiet,
Mm,
feel what I feel. You know what I'm saying? But I have to make sure I don't project that. So I have to release that as soon as possible. Whether that's talking about it immediately, whether that's however, if you like if I have to scream to feel better, like whatever it is, I have to feel it and release it as soon as possible. Because when you don't release toxic baggage, it poisons the body.
mm,
So and then that's why I get real deep with it because like that's how stress affects your immune system. You hold on to things just like how we eat snacks. The body holds on to the fat, and we try to figure out why we're not losing weight. It's because the body is holding on to the fat because we're not eating the right fat. We're eating processed food. So it's kind of like that. It's like we have to make sure. I have to make sure. You know what I'm saying, that I'm aware. I'm aware. You know what I'm saying, that every time. That's how I grow. awareness is literally how you grow.
Mm.
So when I get into those moments, I have to make sure that I realign myself because we're not perfect. We're human. We have, the scriptures say that we're both human and divine. So if we use regular terms, right? I want to get off of the terminology, but I know the scriptures say that we're both human and divine. But if I use regular terms, that's basically just saying that we have higher energy and lower energy.
Mm.
So like when you're in the lower frequency, when you're in the lower energy, everything is accessible to you. You're open to everything when you're in low energy because your pineal, like your third eye, is not even activated. You're not even thinking. You're not even using your mind because your energy is so low. You're just so controlled and you're so entertained. Well, entertrained, as I may say, the new word that I learned. I was gonna wait to the segment to bring that out, um, but yeah, man, like we have to be conscious because consciousness and awareness is definitely the way to healing. So that's what I work on daily. How I do that is like I said, becoming aware when I get angry, but I also like do practices like being in the spirit of gratitude. It's hard to be mad when you're thankful for everything.
Mm-hmm.
So and not just trying to hack myself. I want to sincerely be grateful. I'm not trying to like because we try to make little deals with ourselves without changing internally. We try to do the actions without internally changing. Like you try to psych yourself out. Like nah, you got to really work on yourself internally. So
Right.
like nah, you got to really put that work in. Um so yeah, like I said, yeah, we fall short. We're both human and divine. So when you're falling into that low energy, it's going to take consciousness and awareness to be like, hey, I'm in low energy right now. That awareness alone gonna raise your vibration. So like you start getting into the habit of being that person because you are that. But when you practice being that person in the present, your future self is already activated, and that's what I wanted to bring out the conversation. Like we talked about our future self, but we have to understand that while working on that future self, we are that person in the present. As soon as we make the decision to do or not do something in preparation to become better, your future self has already been activated in the present. So you're no longer waiting to be that person. When you have actively did things to become a better you, you are already that person right now. And that's what we have to realize. So, but the flip side of that is if we don't do the work, the flip side of that is if we don't do the work, um, our future self will be our present self still. It goes both ways. If you don't do the things that you supposed to do, your future self is going to be a person that don't do what he's supposed to do. You
Makes
feel me?
sense. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So
Simple as that.
you you got to be doing what you're supposed to be doing in the present for your future self to be born.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
And you hit
yeah,
a
yeah.
major key, bro, when you said something about, not trying to hack yourself. That just made me think about like how important it is for us to tap into the emotion of whatever work we're trying to do on ourselves. And what I mean by that is like, you know, just like if we're imagining our future self, you know what I mean? We gotta put the right emotion with that. Or if we're trying to deal with uh some trauma from our past, we need to really feel the emotion associated with that trauma in order to, really move past it. You know what I mean? So really being in tune with them emotions, not just going through the motions. You know what I mean? I think that's real important. I just really wanted to re-emphasize that piece that you said, bro.
I appreciate that, King. I appreciate that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 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 man. But tapping into, if you don't have anything left to say on that end, brother.
Oh no, that's it, bro.
Okay, cool. So we're gonna tap into our next segment, man, because it's a few things that I learned. Um, but I know we're at 37 minutes right now. Um, I learned a couple of things. I'm gonna make it brief, but in this segment of what you learned, brother, um, I did a deeper meaning. I did a deeper research, internal research, and mental research. I didn't do internet research. I did. I got information from source,
Mm-hmm.
but I was thinking about the word emotion, and the letter E is in front of motion. So I started breaking that down. It could mean so many things because energy just means energy. Energy just means inner G. So emotion is just energy in motion.
Mm.
Because if you think about it, when we speak about emotions, we're talking about how we feel. But as we all know, if you feel a certain type of way long enough, you're going to act on it.
Mm-hmm.
So emotion is really about your how you feel in action. Your emotion is energy in motion. Emotion, energy in motion. Now
Mm-hmm.
that happened before the action. That happens before the action. So, but if you get caught up in the emotion, that emotion will become motion, and that's what I'm learning. That's why we have to be sure, to not just control your emotions, bro, but to work on your emotions. And see, that's what I'm learning too. Like, there's a difference. We keep trying to control our emotions, but we're not healing. So you just basically denying how you really feel, pretending that you feel a certain way that you don't. You see
Mm-hmm.
what I'm saying? Like, you can
Mm-hmm.
you can tell yourself, "Oh, I feel good. Oh, I feel good," but internally you haven't done the work that you need to do to free yourself from anything. Because,
Right.
like you were saying, you can give yourself that affirmation, that God can do everything or whatever type of affirmation that you was telling them to write down earlier. They can write that down all day and they can say it to themselves, but if they're not doing the internal work, then it won't be to no effect. Like, I used to say affirmations for years that never took effect because I wasn't doing the internal work.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I was just doing the talking, doing the repetition, but I wasn't doing the work. So we gotta be real deliberate, like, not just trying to get into the mindset of controlling ourselves, but we gotta get in the mindset of growing ourselves
There's
because
so.
you'll start to be yourself. Like, that's what it's all about. Be honest and true with yourself. Like, if you're having emotions that are evil, feel those emotions. It's not about trying to deny those emotions because you feel bad about them. No, this is what you're feeling. There's a reason you're feeling this. Let's attack it.
Mm-hmm.
Let's figure this thing out instead of just going along with it and getting up in the morning and saying, I'm not angry. I'm not angry. I'm a happy person. I'm a happy person. But how are you going to be a happy person when you haven't found out the reason why you're unhappy?
Mm-hmm.
You can't just tell yourself that you're happy if you haven't done the work. See, that's what I'm saying. So, emotion, don't just try to control your emotion. Try to better and grow and change and evolve your emotions so that you will literally be changing your chemical imbalance in the brain instead of trying to hack yourself like we just said, or trying to psych yourself out emotionally.
There's so.
So you will literally be changing who you are as a person instead of trying to manipulate yourself into acting a certain type of way, because that's not real, that's not genuine. You're not making a genuine change. That's pretending. That's really kind of like religion. You creating your own little religion with yourself. You're doing your own little ritual with yourself thinking that it's gonna better you when it's really not, because you saving face for yourself because it feels good to lie to yourself. Like, it feels good to lie to yourself. It makes you feel comfortable
Mm,
because it does, brother. Like, just like how talking about your goals feel better than actually doing the work. It's the
mm-hmm.
same thing. Like, talking is always easier than actually getting in there, getting in the mud, getting in the mirror, going through the painful shit that you got to go through the hill. You
Mm-hmm.
got to get off in there, bro.
Real talk. It ain't pretty.
It ain't, brother.
It's always
But that's
worth
what
it
I
though.
learned. That's what
Yes,
I
sir.
learned. Um, it's a lot more, but we're saving for more podcasts for the sake of time.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but anything that you learned, brother?
Yeah, real quick, man. That was a powerful one. So I'm gonna just give a real quick one. Piggybacking off the one from last week when I couldn't figure out the name of the fabric squares.
Hmm.
They're called swatches or swatch.
How you
And those,
spell it?
I want to say is SWATCH.
Okay.
And those are basically, for those who didn't listen last week, are like the squares of fabric they use to, present a design. It's like they might not send the whole shirt, but they'll send a piece of a fabric and the like a drawn design itself with all the specifics. And that piece of fabric is called a swatch.
I just looked it up and definitely see it.
Mm-hmm.
Great, great stuff. Great stuff for those who are in the fashion industry. You know, that's how people choose. Which pieces they want, colors. That's how companies choose things so that it can go to the sweatshops
Pretty much.
and get knitted up. But
Mm-hmm.
thank you for that, brother. Um, Now tapping into the financial theme of the month. Ah, man, I wanted to bring that up. Now, I kind of thought it was dope. Now, before we go to that segment, I wanted to get your opinion on this word that I heard on the podcast. Entertainment, entertainment versus entertainment, and I'm pretty sure, like, I want probably next week's show gonna be on this subject. Entertainment versus entertainment. So look out for that, my people. But as you can see, there's a kind of a change in the word entertainment, because like entertainment is entertainment, and we'll get into that on the next conversation. But I thought that that word was dope because it's just a reflection of how the Matrix controls and manipulates us into thinking that we're supposed to watch TV all the time. We're supposed to be on YouTube. We're supposed to be on social media. We're supposed to be doing all these things. But meanwhile, there are some things happening without us realizing it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, tap into conversation 60. If you would like to have that conversation, King, that'll be our next conversation. Um,
So
entertainment versus entertainment.
I
Um,
like that.
Now going into the financial theme of the month. Now I know we said last time because of how the financial systems are going right now. We went over things to invest in on the last episode. Possible investments. Um, but now the financial theme is still the same, you guys. We got to utilize what we have already, diversify, educate yourself. Um, Definitely tap into your network, grow your network, because we all know that your network is your net worth. And a few episodes ago, we talked about the barter system. So we also know that we don't have to just only depend on money, the money system or the currency or the money system. We don't have to depend on the current money system. We also can depend on the barter system. Like if you have something of value, I have something of value, we can do an exchange that way. It don't always have to be a money or a currency connected to it. Well, the barter system is the currency, but the money attached to the system don't necessarily have to be paper money. Um, it can be a relationship exchange. It can be product exchange. It can be whatever exchange y'all have. It just don't have to be a money. It don't have to be a paper money exchange.
Right.
So I always keep that in mind. Because you yourself is a walking value. That's what we talk about at Financial Fashion Network. Be your own currency. You are a walking value. You are your own value, and we have to realize that. Like you don't necessarily have to have money to be seen as valuable. Your mind is valuable because your mind is infinite, which you have access to all information, which we talked about earlier. All of the dimensions that the mind can go to, and two, we found out scientifically that there are 15 to 20 years um, of codes and of information inside of your DNA from previous generations. So you literally can tap into ancestral information as well. So that's literally a human power also. Um, so all of those things, man, all of those things. So you got the information. Tap in. Even if you got to tap in through meditation, tap in. Tap into source through meditation, tap into your network, tap into information, stay educated, read, pray, you know, the same thing. And so that's the financial theme of the month. No, it's not just about money. Finances to us isn't only about money. Finances to us is all things valuable. When we talk about finances, don't nobody want to talk about not having. We don't talk about not having when we talk about finances. When we talk about finances, we're talking about going up and being blessed, being improved, being enlightened, being conscious. We talk about elevation when we speak about anything financial. So that's the type of context that we use when speaking financial fashion. So we speak from a higher thing, a higher conscious standpoint. So coming from that perspective, we're saying that hey, you are money. You are the currency. Whatever is needed to get access to anything that you need is within yourself. So be your own currency. Tap into your network, educate yourself, and never neglect. You know what I'm saying? To get down on your knees and pray. Pray to the Creator. Because He will provide all things.
That's right.
So if you don't have anything left to say, King Vic,
No, that's it, man.
and I thank everybody for tuning in. Conversation number 59. Definitely enjoyed the conversation. We went through a few things. I'll do a little quick rundown. You talked about, your future self. You talked about your future self wanting to improve in listening and to also be the most faithful person in the room and to make sure that you are aligned and that God is still guiding your life. And you work on that every day by being conscious, you know, and you tap into that consciousness by affirmations. You tap into that consciousness by setting reminders and alarms so you can say a word of prayer so you can be more conscious of God. You talked about that. And I talked about, working on, my future self being the most loving person in the room, loving people freely and not having attachments onto it and being conditioned, my future self and also um my belief system, being a strong believer, not having fear, and also using love to heal. We went through a number of things of what our future selves would look like, what we would want to do in our future, and we also realized that the present, the key to the future is in the present. What you're doing in the present, which is why we gave practical steps, on how to improve your consciousness, and how to improve your awareness. So I thank you, King, for having this conversation with me. So with that being said, I'm co-host Mr. John Michael Best,
And I'm your other co-host, Victor Thomas II.
and we appreciate everybody for tapping in. See y'all next week for conversation number 60. The Two Kings is out.
Peace.
Are you stressed, anxious, or depressed? Well, here's some good news for you. We started a mental health movement called MH10, and we encourage people to pay more attention to their mental health. So do this for us. Take at least 10 minutes per day to take a walk in nature, a jog, run, or just meditation to decrease your stress, because stress is one of the leading causes of chronic physical and mental illnesses in the body. So if you want to join the movement, you can also post on social media, post your 10 minutes by using hashtag MH10 or mental health 10 minutes.